Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. From the flight deck, this is the captain speaking. Just kidding. Welcome to Infinite Aviation, where I'll be showing you how to make an ILS landing with the autopilot. Here's the briefing. We're gonna take off at 70 degrees runway heading, turn right to 100 degrees, and then after traveling 10 DME from Los Angeles International, we're gonna turn left back towards the airport for the ILS, making a teardrop entry in the process. So, let's get started. First, let's set the altitude to 2500 feet. Now we don't wanna climb above that, or else we're gonna find ourselves way above the glide slope. Heading, as discussed, let's set it to 100 degrees. Speed. It's important to set the speed below 250 knots, and I'm gonna set it to 220 knots so that I'm not in a hassle to decrease my speed or bring my speed under control while coming in for the approach. That's a lot of work. Now we're gonna keep all the buttons off for the moment. The next most important thing is setting the ILS frequency, which for this case is 111.10 degrees, 10 hertz. We're gonna set it to nav1. Don't forget to activate it by clicking the active button. All set, let's get going. I'm using 5 degrees of flaps for this takeoff. Positive rate, gear up. Now let's come to the autopilot. Set the auto throttle arm to on and then the speed button, or else it's not gonna work. Then set the altitude hold, heading, and then the command button. Let's keep an eye at the DME, because when it reaches 10.0, we're gonna turn left towards Los Angeles. Okay, it reaches DME 10.0, so let's turn off the heading selector and make a manual turn. The advantage of this manual turn is that if you want to use the autopilot for the turning, you're gonna have to work with the knob again and again and again to make sure that you are going to the correct direction, and that's a lot of hassle. So I prefer the manual turning, and the autopilot will set the speed and the altitude for you, so no worries with that. Speed at 220 and 2490 feet. Oh, 2500 feet. There we go. To find my location, I generally prefer the GPS. Press Shift 3 to activate the GPS in front of you. So, I guess we're almost there. Press the APP, is the approach button, so that your autopilot lines up with the glide path. Now this is the most important part. Here, the heading selector turns off and so does the altitude selector. and the aircraft climbs or descends, turns right or left so that it stays on the glide path. Decrease your speed and set flaps accordingly. Now, the speed and flaps concept is beyond the scope of this tutorial, so comment on the section below if you need some help with that. I'll be glad to help. For an empty aircraft like this, I prefer making the touchdown at about 160 knots, so I'm setting the speed to 175. Once we're close to the ground, turn off all the autopilot buttons and get ready to make a very smooth touchdown. You know, it's important to have a vertical speed of negative 100 feet per minute to make a perfect smooth touchdown. Extend the spoilers and engage reverse thrust. There we go. That's all for today, folks, and thanks for watching the video. This is one of my first tutorials, so I'm not very sure if it proves to be very helpful. Comment on the section below to ask for help or suggest me which aircraft or which mission to undertake, and I'll do it accordingly. I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned for more Infinite Aviation, and thank you for flying with us. Have a great day.
That's all you got. No words to say. Think about you every day.